Hello and welcome to this video and of course this channel, Scriptcase by Jamie. And yes, if you don't know by now, that is me. So in today's video, we will be continuing with our project. Are you ready? Well, I sure hope you are. Okay, so we have already our project open up on our screen here, and just in case you don't remember it, we have here our menu. In fact, let's just go ahead and start the menu from scratch. And here we have our menu system. We have a header up here. We have then also a lot of applications which we have already created within some previous videos, and there is still much to do here. So let's make a start, shall we? So back in Scriptcase, let us go ahead and first of all start with our menu system, because I really want to first of all change the layout of this. So I'm going to remove here the header, and that will then remove that logo and the text that we had on the side there. Of course, that is one option, but at the moment I've really been much preferring this sort of layout. So here I'm adding a layer now, and I'm going to drag that over there to the right hand side, give it around 12-13%. That's enough. I will save, and then come down here to programming, PHP methods, and I'm going to add a new method here, and I'll just call it menu method and create, and then come back here to the menu structure and click on the pen there, and then the type here I'll choose method and select then here the menu method which I've just created. Okay, so with that applied, I will change here the alignment to right and click on save. So just like that, I can run that now, and well, it's going to give me an error because there's nothing there. Okay, I have nothing in here. So I have here my menu method, and so let's just fill that in first of all. So we have something here, and with that we just open and close our PHP tags, and let's just add some text in there for now. Hello will do. That will do for now, and if I run that now we have no more error message, but we now have our hello statement here. Okay, so what we want to do then really is just add something up here. We can add an exit icon in here or anything else that we want to do then, and we can just leave it like that, empty for now, as long as there's something inside of that method, and that is then going to be displayed. So right now it's just a blank space, so we could place something in here if we wanted to. Okay, so within our menu items, I'm going to make a little adjustment here. And we have here clients, companies, and that's of course really the wrong way around. So let's just quickly adjust that, because really it's companies first, and then we have clients, which are then also associated to companies. So it's better to have that next. Then we have here our email settings, our email log, email templates, and email settings. So what I will do is just add another item for that, save the menu, and then I will go ahead and adjust the item that I've just added. So here I will just call that email, and we can add a hint in here, email settings and relevant applications. Okay, so just like that, we have a hint in there as well. Now I don't need a link, because what I want to do is actually save that first of all again. And then I'm going to select these three email menu items that we had, adjust them to the right a little, and then down. So they are below the email and indented. If I save that then, and if I go ahead and run the menu, we now have our email settings all together, and like so. So that's a little tidier and easier also on the eye, you could say. Now, of course, ideally we want to add here our language variables, but for now I'm just going to leave that as it is, and maybe we can come to that later on. But I do want to add here an icon in there, because of course we have icons everywhere else. So there I will add here the email icon and run that again, And just like that, then we also have an email icon there, and at least then everything still looks the same. So I think for now that is our menu is good. And if anything, we could maybe generate a security later and then add the exit button here to the right instead of having that within the menu, which is typically what I would end up doing, or adding here a drop menu for the user details and so on. But we can look at that later. For now, that will be our menu done. Okay, so we wanted to have a look then also at some of our applications here. So we had here our company clients. So our client name here had no records found. So let's quickly go and adjust that. So back here within our clients applications, we have here form clients, grid clients, and then companies, which is where we have the clients application displayed. So we can double check that within the grid companies. And there, of course, if I come here to the nested grid links, here I have company clients and company underscore client. So one of these is actually broken and we can actually remove that. So I'm just going to leave it as it is for now because, well, actually, let's just delete the one. We have the one here, and that's all we really need in here. So we have our one single form, and that is connected here to the grid company clients. Okay, and we have that one here, grid company clients. So I'll just open that, come here to the SQL, scroll down, and I'll choose here to use a customized message, and then add in here a message that I want to display when there are no associated clients. So here I can say no associated clients. Okay, and save that and generate, of course. So then when I come back here to our menu and I check here on our companies grid and view here, I now have no associated clients. And of course, I could bolden that maybe so that it's bold, which is, you know, much nicer, I think, and increase the font size as well. And that would, of course, then make a bit of a difference to how it is displayed here. Okay, so with that, we had our images here. And for that, I will organize some new photos and they can then be placed in here. Now, that is actually looking good. Otherwise, we had then also the company name and then also here the edit. Okay, so we actually wanted to change that. So when we click on here, the company name, it actually brings us to a detail page. And then here on the company clients, it then allows us to edit the details. Okay, so that way we can basically just, you know, remove the edit and then the display of the details will still be available to the user. Okay, so within our applications, we have a few ways of dealing with that. So we could, for instance, now create another form and make all of the fields non-editable, and also maybe give a completely different display for the company information. Or we could apply a security group hidden functionality that we have available within Scriptcase. So that is something that we could apply, but the thing is we don't actually have our security generated yet. And in that case, ideally we have the security and then we could actually see that running. Otherwise, we will not. So maybe the best idea for this right now is to actually create another form companies and have another view. Okay, so what I'm going to do is then, in that case, I will copy here the form companies, form company view, I'll call it. Okay, and okay that. And then here within our grid companies, we want to then also change what our link is for that application. So here we have the edit link and the field link. Now the edit link is then for the edit button and the field link is then when we click on the name, and that's what we want to change. So I'll click here on the link option and there we have our form underscore companies. So I'll change that to form underscore company underscore view. Click next. The values we're passing remain the same. Confirm that. And then just like that, now we are actually on click now viewing an entirely different form, which of course we have not generated yet, so it is not yet available. So let's come back into our grid and home, and then open up here our form company view. Now, in some cases, what I've just done there by copying this application, and now I'm going to go ahead and make all the changes in the world. Now, I'm hoping everything will go well, because in some cases, we may end up with an issue. Okay, but we'll see. Let's see how it goes. So right now, let's go ahead and run the form as it is now. So we have here now our tabs, and the first thing we may want to do is actually remove those and have the logo displayed here straight away, as well as then the list of clients that we may also want to have displayed here on the same page. So the first thing I'll do maybe is change all of these options to read only except active. That I will leave as an option, so we can actually just have that maybe later changed. And with those fields set as read only, save and run the application, and then we can see that now all of these fields are read only. We can no longer edit those, and the same goes for the logo. Okay, so then we want to come back here to our layout and our blocks, and we have here our tabs as blocks, as our blocks as tabs, sorry. So let's change all of those to below first of all, and then just run that. So we can see pretty much what it looks like now. And then what we may want to do then is just change here our logo, so it comes up here to the right hand side. And then the clients, I guess, we can actually leave those at the bottom and just maybe add a title in here and the drop down. Okay, so for our clients here, let's go ahead and do that. Here we have then our fields. Let's change that to beside is fine, above is fine. We want to display the label there, and then we want to leave here expanded. Okay, so for our other options here, we'll choose no. And we then also want to change here where the position is of our companies and our logo. So let's 60% for our details and 40% for the logo. And we change the next to beside, and then for the logo, it remains as below. So if I run now, we'll have this sort of view. So we now have our active status up here still, space for a large logo, the details of the user, as well as then the clients below. And of course, we could further adjust this so that maybe we have the title displayed here, and that will then also give us our drop-down menu here. So that's maybe better. And what we may want to do then actually is have that closed. So we'll start collapsed, and that will then have that closed on start, so that then if I want to check the clients, I can check that out. And of course, I may want to remove here the label from there because I had checked that. And now we have the label removed. It's much tidier and cleaner like this. And we can, of course, continue on as we had done previously with all of these applications. Okay, so that's working very nicely. And of course, we could maybe make some other adjustments here, add some color coding here to the active status for yes and no. And that would maybe, add some, a bit more visibility into this application. Okay, one other change we could maybe make here is further adjustments here to the details. So we have here our companies, and really adding block onto block and block is not really that efficient or easy, should I say. And in most cases, it's easier just to stick with one easier layout that you can actually put together instead of spending a few days trying to come up with super complex layouts that then maybe even just break on you in the end anyway. So try to keep it easy, and of course just lay out everything in a functional way, and then you can always come and adjust that at any time. Okay, so with those saved, let's go ahead and run our menu again, come back to our companies, and if I click here on the company name, now I have the details like so, and we have our edit option for the company details. Awesome, right? Okay, so then our clients, let's have a look. So we have pretty much the same thing going on here. So we may want to do the same here also. So we have here the edit and then also a view. So let's come back here to home, clients, and here we have our form clients. I will copy that and I'll just say form client underscore view. Okay. And again, we access here our grid clients, and we want to update here our field link so that it now points here to our form client view, and the parameters remain the same. We confirm that, and again, we can just run that. Click on it, and of course, because we have again not generated the application yet, we have an error page, which is great. Okay, so that's awesome. So if I come back here to our form client view, and of course we could go ahead and run that now, and we have our typical view. Now I do want to change this button within the other form, so maybe I should have done it before actually copying it so that it would have been the same straight away. And in those cases, remember that applying some of these functionalities and buttons within applications before you go and copy them will save you a great deal of time. Okay, so of course, if you apply it once and you copy it, you don't need to apply it again. So let's continue then. So back here in our form, I'll come back here to edit fields, and again I will leave the active status as optional, and we can hide that also then in code later on, maybe within our security environment once we've actually created that. So if I save that now and run, we now have a view like so. Now we have our company name here, so let's go ahead and adjust that field. So our company, and here we have we're active 1. Okay, ID companies, ID company name. So that should actually be good, but because this is a drop down and as view only, it's actually, or read only, is displaying us the data there. So what we want to do is then come back here to edit fields, change that to not read only. Let's run that again. And now we have here the company name, you see? Okay, so that's a bit of a difference there, and generally that shouldn't actually be happening. We should actually be getting the name there, regardless of me setting it as read only. So I haven't hidden the field. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there, and then here on events, on load, we actually have the select here, which of course fills in that field for us. Because notice, of course, that it is a manual select drop menu. Okay, so that's really why that is happening there, because of course we are in fact giving it the ID, and then the select menu is grabbing the menu for us. Okay, so what we can do is we can come back here to our company, and we can pretty much just copy this select here because we want to copy that again. And I'm just going to place that in here. And what we can do now is, instead of grabbing here the ID and placing it there as the company field, what we want to do is actually create here a new select. So let's just start to put that together. And if I just use here, check for an existing record. Okay, and in fact, that's not what we want to do. We want to select fields from another table. So if I go ahead and do that, and if I use here the select that we have, so let's just place that in there. I want to select here those fields, and from companies where active equals 1. Okay, so that's what it is, and that is of course for our companies here. Now we don't need to worry about the order, and we have here the company ID, and that is also what we want to grab here. So we want to say where ID companies, we actually want to hear the name. So let's adjust this. ID companies, we actually want to copy that and remove that. Okay, so where ID companies equals here, in fact, the ID company or company ID. Okay, so like that, we have that put together. And now we can adjust here our field, because now that will be then the company. And let's change that in there. That can go, that can also go. And then this, let's cut that. And then we can just paste that in between here, our other if statement. So when it's available, then we go get the name. Otherwise, well, we can give actually an error message here, not found. Okay, so if I then go ahead and save that, and if we go ahead and run now, we'll have our select menu and we have our names in there again. But remember, this is a select menu and it's automatically grabbing those. So we want to change that. So let's remove here our select and change this here to a text type. Save that, run. And now we have here our company name, and I'll come back here to edit fields and set that to read only, run it again. And just like that, we have our new view layout for our client. Okay, excellent. So that's done. Let's go ahead and check that out also from the menu system. So if I come here to clients now, click on the client name, I now have a client view with the possibility of the active button here and of course the send email button. Now I do want to actually go ahead and change that. In fact, the send email button. So I'm going to go ahead and open both of the client forms. And if I come here to buttons, button email, let's change that from Suite Alert to the PayPal one. It's a bit smaller and nicer, I think. So if I run that now, that fits a bit better with what we have. And then I will come to toolbar and I will adjust that over here to the right and place a line there between that. And I really want to change how the other layout is here, but I'll just leave it because of the other application. So for our client view, I'll do the same here, come back to buttons, button email, change that here to PayPal, and then come here to the toolbar, saving along the way, and move that over to the right and also add there a line. Okay, so both of those forms are a little nicer now, and if I just generate those as well as any others that are currently outdated, and we can close that, come back to the menu, run, and now we have here our companies, our clients, and both of those now have custom views, and even the send button, send email button looks a lot nicer now than it did previously. Okay, so that is definitely much nicer than it was. Okay, so we discussed previously also the importance of the design of your database. I think I posted the video already. If not, then it is upcoming. So be sure to check that out. Now, in that video, I discussed the creation of your database and the dependencies or relationships, because relationships turn into dependencies. So within our form company, so we have here our company, we need to actually open the edit form, which is our form companies. So this is our edit form. And if I go ahead and run this, we have in here a list of clients. Now, within our database, if we had set a relationship between the clients and the companies, which in some cases is not a good idea because it then restricts us in certain ways. Okay, so in some cases, applying your dependencies within Scriptcase is a better idea. It really depends on your data and how you want to deal with it. Okay, so if I come here to dependencies within my form companies, I will choose here a new dependency. And the dependency is the clients table, and we have one field that is of relationships. So that would be the ID. Okay, so I'll go next. And then with that, we need to then define the IDs, which are the same. But in this case, our ID clients is not storing any information. So we need to set our dependency actually on the companies underscore clients table. Okay, so if I choose that, go next, and then here I have the option of choosing the ID companies. They're both integers. So we set those and I save that. So now if I have clients existing within the shared table or the dependency table or the relationship table, however you want to call it, then they will not allow to delete that company. Okay, because then we have clients related to the company, and there's going to be, so you don't want to be able to delete this company. So that is very important to apply. Now, if we had the ID or the reference within the clients table, then of course we would set that here to the clients table. Now, I could go one step further, and that is, of course, within another application where we then manage, for instance, the relationship table, which we have not created so far. And that would, of course, then also be an admin table or an admin application. I think I'll have a look at that, and maybe we'll come back in another episode after this one and actually add that. Also add a couple more applications to this for the management of these emails, add maybe some of the email functionality I had spoken about previously. I'm still waiting for some comments on the videos there, so make sure you check that out, and yes, leave some comments if there's something specific you would like me to add into this section of the project, then let me know. Okay, so before we finish up then, let's check out here some of our email application and settings applications, because for those, there was a couple there I was not very happy with. So if I run that again and come here to email and email settings, we had here the connection port, password, the login, and well, everything's visible. Okay, and in some cases we may want to actually encrypt here, for instance, the password, which is probably a good idea, as well as then maybe give the options for the ports, the connections, and so forth. So we will be checking that out also in the next video. Okay, so we will actually deal with this application then and add some extra functionality in here so that this could essentially not be an email settings page, but an overall portal settings page. So this would essentially just be the email segment of that. And as I had previously mentioned, I'll be quite happy to add SendFox or something else in here, or Mandrill, I believe it is. I think they've actually been totally bought out now, so maybe the name has even changed, and in that case, well, we can add that also as we had done within a previous Scriptcase video. So other than that, let's have a quick look, because I think there was one other factor here that I wanted to do, and that was here on our forms. So when I come to add a new client, we add a company name, we choose the company name. Okay, so we add the client name, we choose then the company name if they're associated, and for the companies, if I go add, okay, so I think that is actually okay. And if I then come here to a company, okay, so I think it would be a good idea from here, the companies, to have a button here to manage the clients, or maybe add a client or associate a client from those that we have pre-existing. But otherwise, we have here, I think everything is in order. I believe there was something that I wanted to do. Oh, that was actually on the email, wasn't it? See, I don't hear anyone screaming. That was here on the email type and the email template. So we wanted to hide here the email template until the type has been displayed. Okay, so if I come back here to home, to email, and here we then have our control client email application, which is then our sending form. And there I could add an email address or not, and then manually enter that. And here our from address, we would maybe want to add this into the back end if we hadn't already done so. See what I say about forgetting things about certain projects when you don't come back to them for a few months, and it has been a couple months since I've actually come back to this project. So it is always important to keep those notes and processes and have everything ready for you. So the email type, let's come back here to our email type, add an email event. So we have here an Ajax event already for the TPL field, which then fills in the fields with the subject and the message. Now what we want to do then is add a new Ajax event, and that will then be attached here to the email type, and that is then on change. So if I create event, so then with our email type on change event field, or Ajax event should I say, we can then create our if statement. So if I say if, and then I'll say inside of our if is it, and there we want to also indicate our field, which is then the email underscore type it was. spelled type correctly. And there we want to then hide our field. So let me just grab the macro for that, hide show a field. And there we can then say in here, it is on, and that is then the email TPL field. And don't forget, we also want to switch it off when we run the application. So then on load, and then in here, I would say the field is off. So now when I save and run and continue, we do no longer have our TPF field there. So it's no longer confusing. We then choose our type, and then the field is displayed. Okay, so just like that, we have made a nice little adjustment here to our email sending form, as well as some of the other applications, added the dependency and more. Now, as I said, there is still more I want to apply here in these settings, but that will be, I'm afraid, in the next video. Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and hopefully also learned something. And if not, let me know. Just leave me a comment. It's always good. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to leave a like down there.